Welcome, Tamar. We are very happy to host you here today. My name is Slavica and I'm the coordinator of Topluma Destek Dernegi. We are working under Erasmus Plus program European Solidarity Corps. Our project No Pollution is the only solution. It was approved in 2021 and our volunteer Debora and Lizi, they will be here for 9 months. Their project is about sustainability and ecology. So we would like to hear about the situation in Georgia. So thank you so much for joining today.
Okay, just to introduce myself as well, I'm Tamar from Environmental Information and in the Education Center. Also, the center is under the agency of the Ministry of Environmental Protection and Agriculture of Georgia, and our center is leading and aiming to support environmental and agricultural education in the country, and also to ensure access to environmental information and support public participation in environmental decision-making process. This is three key goals that the center aims to. And of course, we implement different kind of projects, activities, and programs in order to support these three goals. This just very briefly.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. I am Debora, and with Lizi, we are the volunteers of this project. I'm coming from Italy, and thank you so much for coming. I will start with our first question, and we would like to ask you if you can tell us what kind of activities or campaigns are you doing in your country in order to raise awareness on the topic of environment and climate change?
Thank you for the question, and also for the project that you are implementing on the ecological issues. It's very interesting for us, and our center is always supporting students and interested stakeholders and youth representatives to support implementing such kind of projects. So always happy to contact us and to share the information that we have in our hands. So what are we doing in a country? As I mentioned, the Environmental Information and Education Center is one of the key agencies that is supporting environmental education at national level, and our key mechanism is to support informal and non-formal environmental education, and we are actively cooperating with the Ministry of Education and Science of Georgia in the field of formal education, and we do a lot of joint programs and activities together. So one of the best practices usually acknowledged by the international organizations and our partner countries usually is that the country established such a center. The center, that agency that is supporting environmental education at the national level. Georgia is at the international level, Georgia is party to UNEC Education for Sustainable Development Strategy and the whole process. You probably know about this, and we have national focal points from our ministry and from the Ministry of Education, and they are coordinating as the key focal points in the country. We actively participate in the international processes related to the ESD issues, and usually present our projects and share our experience. As for the national level, now what are we doing? The center was established in 2013, so since then we have a special unit on for education projects unit, which is implementing different kind of activities. We have programs separately for each stakeholders. So for example, in 2016, we started with a preschool environmental education program, which is program for specifically for the preschool teachers. in order to support them to raise their awareness at first and to support them integrate and teach environmental topics at kindergarten level. To support this program and implement this program, we elaborated the special textbook for teachers, including 3 topics. It's biodiversity, water and resource efficiency, and waste management. So these 3 topics is, of course, selected based on the necessity and on the topics that is possible to be studied at the kindergarten level. After elaborating this textbook, we started training the teachers, kindergarten teachers. So we covered the whole country and all the kindergartens. In total, we trained over 2,000 teachers. In another way, we can say that at least we have 1 trained kindergarten teacher in each kindergarten. And one of the issue was also when we were training these teachers that you should share your information and knowledge to your colleagues. We provided these textbooks to them too, and they are actively implementing and teaching environmental topics since then. How we know that they're implementing? So probably you might have the question. We have announced a special contest for them, competition. It's called the Green Award. So annually we announce Green Award competition for kindergarten teachers, and the key criteria is that they should have been trained in our trainings, and also they should have been teaching these 3 topics. So based on them, we check the applications, then we have the second stage as interviews with the teachers, and based on all this, we choose the best green teacher of the year. So based on these contests and with our trainings and requests for the trainings, we know that these topics are already quite well integrated and taught at kindergarten level. In order not to leave just the kindergarten level, of course, we wanted another level too. So we somehow covered the whole country in 2019. After that, in order to have the continuation of the process, in 2020, we started elaborating the program specifically for primary school teachers now. So the program covers grades of 1 to 6, which is the primary school grades. And at this level, we scaled up the program. So in addition to these 3 programs, we have added additional topics. And now in primary school program, we have 8 topics. It is also sustainable development, forest resources, biodiversity, land degradation, climate change. You mentioned environment and climate change. So one of the book is specifically for climate change. And also we added, I mentioned that we support environmental and agricultural education. So we added to this program food safety and agriculture development. And also integrated some topics even for the water resources. For example, we have like water use, water consumption, and water production. So we consider activities based on from both sides, from agriculture point of view and from environmental point of view too. In 2020, we finished to elaborate the whole program. And so we have set up 8 textbooks, which is like very useful resources for the teachers, as they noted. And not just we say it. And in 2021, so last year, we started training the primary school teachers. We had close cooperation with the Ministry of Education. They evaluated the whole training program. And finally, our trainings are acknowledged by the Teachers House, which is the key agency of the Ministry of Education, acknowledging teachers' annual program and obligatory hours that they need to be trained. So the teachers in Georgia have needed to have several hour trainings annually to meet the standards. Our program is included now in the obligatory training programs that is acknowledged by the Ministry of Education. Since so it's already second year. Even yesterday, for example, I opened one of the following training for the teachers, primary school teachers. We already trained more than 3,000 school teachers. They are all primary school teachers. It is not only, it may be English teacher or music teacher or biology one. So any teacher who is teaching classes from 1 to 6. We, of course, in case of successful completion, we provide the certificate also to them. So this is for primary schools. As for now, we are already starting to elaborate the program for the general school teachers. So for the classes 7 to 12. We also, one of the activities that we have in order to support informal environmental education, we have special programs for school teachers, school students itself. We have just finished yesterday, for example, Eco-Leader School program, which is specific program, 2-month online program for school children of classes 9 to 12. They're selected based on the applications, interviews, and so on. They should pass all the classes that they have online, and after the completion and active participation in the program, they are certified as eco-leaders. Also, we have specific, during the pandemic situation, for example, we have opened all meetings in online format. So we usually have online webinars on different environmental international days dedicated to international days or on different topics. And these webinars are participated both by school children and school teachers as well. This year we have already just finished also the Green Camp for school children. Also for the class for years 14 to 17. And this camp specifically was dedicated to the climate change, for example. It was an 8-day camp, and the school children could we are able to study about the climate change, disaster risk reduction, environmental advocacy, environmental education, sustainable development, forest resources and biodiversity, land degradation. So focusing also and links with climate change. In addition to the Green Camp, we last year we opened the call for competition for creating the environmental green volunteers. These green volunteers and a lot of students, school children participated in the competition. We selected based on the interviews these green volunteers in 10 municipalities, because this activity is implemented within one of the projects that covers just 10 municipalities. But we want to scale up this volunteer network as well, and these were active and successful volunteers could participate in the Green Cap that I mentioned already. Okay, if we go at the next level, which is vocational education, we have so one of the priority this year for our center is to support deficient environmental and agricultural professions. So we started working closely with the colleges and universities. Now we are at the stage of still initial cooperation, but already agreed with the memorandums of cooperation and fields of cooperation. So this year is very active with working with universities. and colleges. In addition to promoting efficient green professions, we work closely with the universities in order to integrate climate change and their topics in their curriculum. And last year, we already succeeded in with one of the universities, which is called GIBA, so-called Georgian Institute for Public Affairs. Liz might know about it. They have a special master degree on environmental policy and management, which was established with support of our center and our ministry in 2016. And this is one of the best case of cooperation of the ministry and university. It was our great desire to have the master degree on environmental policy and management, which was not at that time in Georgia. We have master degrees, for example, in environmental protection or ecology or so on, but we didn't have on policy and management in environmental field, and this is the one that was elaborated with support of our center, our ministry, and the GIBA. So with the GIBA's master degree program, we integrated climate change and DRR topics even more than it was before. They did have a course on climate change, but it didn't include any topics on DRR issues. So we added this and also suggested them new sources, updated sources on climate change too, and they accepted it, and it's we are proud of it. So this year, as for the university level also, we plan, it's just at the planning stage right now. We plan to establish a green scholarship program for students studying in environmental related master degree programs, but mostly for the main beneficiaries will be students of deficient environmental professions. So it will be oriented more on geology, climate change, hydrology, GIS technologies, and so on. So the ones that are usually demanded jobs, but there is lack of professionals in the fields. So this is just very generally the key programs that we are implementing for different age groups and beneficiaries. Generally, we do have, of course, general environmental awareness raising campaigns and programs for general public. Also, in addition to general public, we have specific programs for our ministry staff members in order to raise their capacity and skills. Also, we have specific training programs and awareness raising campaigns for the representatives of local municipalities. We have some activities and contests for local media and local NGOs. So this is just very general. I hope it wasn't too much.
Okay. No, it was very interesting. Thank you so much. So next question, I would like to ask you, what are some laws or regulations in our country, in Georgia, related to pollution and the usage of single-usage plastic?
So pollution and what?
What some laws or regulations in our country related to pollution and the usage of single plastic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Georgia has a lot of new regulations, especially the ones that are approximated to EU directives or are at the stage of harmonizing the legislation with EU directives. One of the law that is already harmonized with EU directives and was elaborated in accordance with it was Waste Management Code. Waste Management Code was adopted in 2015, and this law regulates everything related to the pollution, separation, or single plastic use or so on. So everything that is related to waste management is related to with this waste management code. As for the policy, the country has waste management strategy and action plan. The action plan has been just renewed and updated, and it is already for the years of 2022-2026. And the strategy is till 2030. So this is the key documents in the waste management field. As for the plastic, the country within one of the programs, the country has elaborated, is at the finalizing stage, so-called plastic strategy and action plan separately on plastic issues. So the key goals and are related, of course, within this strategy. Also, I would add extended producer responsibility. This is very new reform in Georgia. The extended producer responsibility bylaws was adopted last year. Some of them was entered also already into force, but some of them has just entered into force since July 1st. So there are already 3 EPR organizations created established in the country too, and now the Georgia is so starting to launch and implement a whole EPR system in the country. This about the just on the waste. Generally, Georgia is party to more than 30 international environmental conventions and their protocols. Some of them are related to waste too. As for the legislation, of course, the key legal document is Constitution of Georgia, which says that environmental rights are guaranteed and ensured by the Constitution of Georgia, and so on, that every person has right to live in healthy environment and has right to receive the environmental information. We do have the law on environmental protection, and the key issues are, of course, regulated by the law on environmental law of Georgia on environmental protection. So, and in every direction, there are, of course, it's laws and regulations. On climate change, probably you will ask me, it's at the initial stage. We don't have at this moment climate law, but the country has already started to elaborate the law on climate change. But we have climate strategy and action plan, and the key goal topics and activities are all regulated and written by this strategy and action plan. I would add also National Environmental Action Program. It is a document which is the key framework policy document on environmental protection, on environmental direction. This document is elaborated in 5 years, once in 5 years. It is regulated by the law on environmental protection too, because it demands to elaborate this National Environmental Action Program. We have just finished working on the final draft of the National Environmental Action Program for 2022-2026, and we hope that it will be soon adopted by the government of Georgia. And this document includes all the topics and all the key programs in the environmental field. Among them is, of course, education chapter 2, and it is called the Environmental Education for Sustainable Development. There are some others, of course, on waste and on, so every direction, it's key framework documents.
Okay, thank you very much for answering all the questions, and you've been very exhaustive. And Just one little thing that I was curious to ask you. How do you think the population is reacting to this? For example, just a simple thing, the waste disposal. Do you think all the people there are doing the separate collection, or they are reacting in different ways?
So if the separation is already established, yeah, your question.
But yes, also, but not only in the cities, also in the villages.
In rural areas as well.
Yes.
So separation is quite new. We do have separation, special waste bins for separation in several areas, but still this is a challenge because it's at the initial level. Okay, we did adopted the law, we elaborated the strategy and policy, but of course, every policy needs some time to be established.
Yeah, of course.
First, our ministry supported to implement special pilot projects in several municipalities and in Tbilisi too. In Tbilisi, we have separation boxes, and people are starting to separate. People are starting to change their behavior. It's really the progress already. But of course, everything needs their infrastructure. So our ministry is more policymaker. So Ministry of Environmental Protection and Agriculture is responsible for developing national waste-related legislation and policy. And there is another agency under the Ministry of Infrastructure and Regional Development, which is called Solid Waste Management Company. This is the state agency, and this agency is responsible for landfills, for organizing this separation and so on. Some of the activities, for example, on separation and waste fees and so on, local municipalities are responsible for it. So of course, some of the municipalities are on better level, some are on the initial one.
Of course.
So this issue is still a challenge, but it's starting. So we can say in this way very briefly.
Yeah, so let's hope something is gonna move in all our countries actually, because we need
time to change our behavior.
Yes, are very standing up for the environment and the planet. So now we have just a couple of minutes left. So we wanted to thank you very much again for coming.
Thank you for your interest.
Thank you so much.
I will be happy to see your project results.
Yes, definitely.
Share us.
Thank you again. It was very interesting interview, and
thank you too.